Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome to this Candidates Forum sponsored by the Enfield Grange and the local community. My name is Sally Grubb and I will be moderating this event on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Tompkins County. The League of Women Voters is a non-partisan organization committed to defending democracy and empowering voters by bringing you the most up-to-date information available on national, state, and local elections and issues of concerns to voters. We encourage informed and active participation of citizens in government, work to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influence public policy through education and advocacy. The League never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. This has been our policy for over 100 years. Membership is open to anyone of any gender who is 16 years and older. Please consider joining the League. You will be very welcomed. The League believes diversity, equity, and inclusion are priorities shaping our future. We believe that actively fostering a culture of inclusion that respects, celebrates, and values difference furthers our mission. Tonight is your opportunity to listen to and ask questions of the four candidates: Rosie Carpenter, Cassandra Hinkle, Jude Lemke, and Robert Tuskey, who are running for 2 seats on the Enfield Town Council. You may submit written questions on the cards provided. Marguerite will hand them to you and bring them to us. And hand them down to us here. You will also have the opportunity to listen to brief statements from Stephanie Redmond, running for Town Supervisor, Mary Cornell, running for Town Clerk, Barry Rollins, Senior, running for Highway Superintendent, as well as Randy Brown, running for County Legislator District 15, and Rachel Ostland, running for County Legislator District 16. Then, thanks to Enfield Grange, at the end of the evening, there will be time for refreshments and the opportunity to meet and greet all the candidates personally. Note, we are live streaming this evening's event over the League of Women Voters YouTube, and a link to a recording will be posted on our website after the meeting. We have a video recording policy, and it means that only Enfield Grange or the League of Women Voters may record this forum. Any recording will be posted on our website in its entirety. Only the media are entitled to air portions of this recording, and no one is permitted to edit footage for any purpose. We all know what happens when you cut what somebody says. We ask that audience members are respectful of all candidates and neither heckle nor applaud any statements that they make. Candidates have drawn lots for the order in which they will make their opening statements and answer questions. My 2 colleagues here will be sorting the written questions you submit to avoid repetition, and correct questions directed at only one candidate will be edited so they can be answered by all candidates. This part of the evening will end at 7:30 or earlier if the questions run out. And then we will follow with the statements by the other candidates. And now we will start with Robert with his opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Tuskey, and I'm proud to be running for Enfield Town Council. As a native resident of Enfield, I've been firsthand and heard firsthand what makes this town such a special place to live. I've also seen how disconnected many residents have become from the decisions that shape our community. Over the past several years, I've heard the same concerns from friends, neighbors, and local families that we don't feel heard. Too often, policies are pushed through without transparency, without real public input, and without thoughtful consideration of what's truly best for the people of Enfield. Decisions seem to come from the top down rather than from the people up. And that's not how local government should work. I decided to run because I believe Enfield deserves better. The town council should never be a platform for personal or political agendas. It should be a place where common sense, fairness, and transparency guide every discussion and every decision. I'm running to restore those values, to ensure residents not only have a voice, but that voice is respected. My background has been prepared and my background is effectively and responsibly been set in motion because of the fact that I was a U.S. Army veteran, where I learned the importance of discipline, accountability, and leading under pressure. Later, as a senior developer for an international corporation, I oversaw operations across the Americas, managing diverse teams, solving complex problems, and making strategic decisions which impact at a real world level. Those experiences taught me how to listen, how to collaborate, and how to deliver results, skills that translate directly to public service. If elected, my priorities are clear. First, to improve communication so residents are informed, not surprised by council actions. Second, to increase transparency, making it easy for everyone to see how and why decisions are made. And third, to reconnect government with the community, ensuring that every policy reflects what Enfield residents actually need, not outside influences or political maneuvering. In short term, I will push for open forums, regular updates, and plain language summaries of council meetings so everyone can understand what's happening. At the end of the day, this campaign isn't about politics, it's about people. It's about restoring trust and rebuilding a government that works for everyone. I'm committed to being approachable, accountable, and transparent because Enfield deserves that leadership that listens and acts with integrity. I'm asking for your support to bring common sense, transparency, and honest representation back to the Enfield Town Council.
And now Jude Lemke.
Good evening. My name is Jude Lemke. I'm running for re-election to town board. I've been honored to serve this since 2021. And I'd like to share a little bit about who I am and why I'm running. I bring over 40 years of experience in law, accounting, Fortune 500 corporate governance, and both federal and local public service. I'm a licensed New York attorney and a hold an inactive CPA license. Throughout my career, I've worked in private legal practice, public accounting, executive leadership, and as a senior advisor to the U.S. Senate Finance Committee. Those experiences taught me the value of fairness, transparency, and fiscal responsibility, principles that I've carried with me to the town board. I've always believed that when you have the skills and the experience to help your community, you should give back. That is what I've tried to do here in Enfield. Over the past 4 years, I've saved the town more than $15,000 by foregoing my board salary. And I've saved the town tens of thousands more by volunteering my legal experience. I've drafted and reviewed contracts and legislation, researched legal issues, and I've helped ensure the town gets solid legal work without the high price tag. My involvement in town government started shortly after I moved here in 2015. In 2016, I joined the Renewable Energy Advisory Committee just as it was formed, and I helped the committee draft Enfield's wind law and its solar law. When I joined the town board in 2021, there was a lot of division and tension among the members. I'm proud to have served as a calming and steadying influence someone who listened carefully, treated others with respect, and helps the board focus on problem solving rather than on personalities. I believe that local government works best when we can disagree without being disagreeable. Since being appointed to the board and reelected in 2022, I've worked to bring civility, collaboration, and fiscal discipline to every discussion, every decision. I deeply care about this community. Enfield is my home, and I want to continue using my background in law, finance, and governance to help the town develop while still maintaining the rural character that we all love. On election day, I hope I can count on your vote. Thank you.
Rosie.
Thanks everybody for coming. My name is Rosie Carpenter and I'm running for a town council seat in the town of Enfield. I've lived here for most of my life. I grew up, turned 16 on Hates Road and then we moved here and I've been here ever since. I worked at the hospital as a registered nurse for 48 years. And I recently retired and started coming back to the town board meetings, which I probably had not attended in 20 years. I was shocked to find when I got there, how things were being run. And after about the third meeting that I was attended, I said, I'm going to step up and jump in on this. I've got a voice on me and I can get people motivated. And when I got out there and started talking to people in the community, I have found that they feel that this board has lost its way. It is very politically activated and there are things that happen there without anybody's discussion. It just won't, we're going to put that through. And that's not how this works. There's no civility there. There's people screaming at each other. For what reason, I'm not quite sure. I don't have a lot of experience with this type of things. I did work a lot of committees in the hospital and tried to make things better for people. And people do remember how you treated them. And I can tell you that the people who live here in Enfield are not being treated very fairly. They're not being told about what's going on. I myself asked a question about this FEMA thing and all of that and asked the board to please send out information to the people that live along this creek so that they will know what you're getting ready to vote on. They sent it to me and my sister only. So I went all the way up and found everybody that lives has property and came all the way down through and asked them to please come to a town board meeting because I wanted their input as to what they had to say. And they came. And it really didn't matter much. It got pushed through basically without if people wanted it or not. And I'm tired of that. So that's why I'm running for this town board. I want to be your voice. I may not know a lot about it, but I'm a quick study. And I hope that you will remember that when it comes to be November 4th. Thank you.
Cassandra.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cassandra Hinkle, and it's been a privilege to serve on this board for the last 4 years. Like many of you, I'm a working parent. I spend my days at Guthrie in the morning, working with patients and helping things run smoothly, ideally. And my evenings at town board meetings, poring over emails, committee meetings, and working to move our families and community forward. My husband Shane and I have been raising our daughter Ava here, and that's what keeps me grounded. Everything I do for Enfield comes back to building a town our children can be proud of. When I first ran for office, my goal was simple: bring practicality, accountability, and follow through to our local government. I believe in listening first, asking questions, and making fair, informed decisions that work for real people. Over the past 4 years, I focused as being the chair of the Sustainability Committee. I have helped lead the installation of solar panels on our town buildings, projects that now generate enough energy to pay for themselves. That's grant-funded, long-term savings for our taxpayers and good for the environment. I've also worked on grant writing and project coordination, helping Enfield secure over $1.2 million in grant funding. That money has supported infrastructure improvements, sustainability projects, and investments that make our town stronger without raising taxes. As a chair of the cemetery committee, I focus on restoring and maintaining our historic cemeteries, making sure they're cared for with respect and attention to detail. And as the Enfield's representative to the Tompkins County Recreational Partnership, I've worked to ensure our youth have affordable access to regional programs and opportunities. I am proud of what we've achieved as a board, but I also see the potential we still have. Looking forward, I want to expand our energy efficiency work, keep pursuing outside grants to stretch the taxpayer dollars, and strengthen communication between residents and local government. Enfield is growing, and I'm proud to be a part of that. I care deeply about this community, not from a distance, but from someone living, working, and raising a family right here beside you. I'd be honored to keep serving for another 4 years to continue building an Enfield that's strong, sustainable, and connected. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to go to your questions, and we're going to start with Cassandra answering questions first. Then it will go Robert, Jude, Rosie, and we will alter the starting each time.
It's a great question. I want to continue focusing on grant funding to get the money into our town without worrying about increasing our budget or taxes. I would like to continue working with our climate smart community, paid for by the NYSERDA grant. We were officially put through that. We also partnered with the Pollinator Pathways and Project GNB through Cornell. That is furthering science as well in our community. Organizing our town and cemetery cleanups is another way, and really focusing on keeping Enfield together, keeping communication open.
Robert.
If I may ask for reiteration of the question, prior military, my hearing isn't always the best.
I'm sorry. What needs to be done in Enfield, and how do you plan to undertake this?
Okay. Well, as I said in the beginning, and Rosie's alluded to it, that there are things with communication with the residents. My perception from the people that have come to me and asked me to run, and as I have been going around and speaking with people, communication can be greatly improved. The voice can be brought back for the residents. They feel that that they're just an inconvenience if they go to a meeting. They feel that what they say is not being taken into account for programs and grants that are sought. It's more of what can I put in an accolade or a bullet point on my resume when I'm done as a councilman. They want their voice back, and that's what I plan to do by using online application forms, real-time things that report voting, budgeting, and minutes that are accurate, not glossed over.
Jude.
Yeah, so I think looking ahead, there are a lot of concerns for Enfield to address, and some of them are quite expensive. So, for example, the Rumsey Hill Bridge needs to be replaced in the future, which could cost us $2 million. There's culvert repairs that need to be addressed. And we would be looking for grants to try and fund those projects. In addition, we're also going to be looking at a way to build an equipment storage unit for the highway department. And we'd like to look into building out town park facilities. All of that involves going and getting third-party funding to keep our taxes in line. We're also addressing our residents' water access concerns. And the other thing is we would be looking at exploring the community development block grant program to help renovate and improve aging and housing stock.
Rosie,
We have a community that is split right down the middle, probably more one way than the other in some parts, but we need to, the word community means to get together and to be able to discuss things that are important to everyone without being attacked. So the conversation needs to get opened. People don't come to the board meetings anymore because they say that it's a waste of their time. How can it be a waste of your time if it's the decisions that these are the people that you've got in those slots and they're making those decisions for you? But they don't want to come because of the way that they've been treated in the past by this board.
the next question, Rosie, you will be answering it first.
Right.
How are residents currently informed of political happenings? And is there anything you would change or modify to better inform residents and seek their feedback?
Right, at present, people have, if they want an email, which works sporadically. And I mean, for 3 weeks, I didn't have it and they couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it. So anyway, I would like to see a blast out email for everyone to read it. You can, and if you don't, you can delete it. And then the other thing is that if I have to get in my vehicle and talk to people so that I can understand what it is that they want, I'm willing to do that. They need to know what's going on in our town and they don't know.
Cassandra.
Me or-
Oh, sorry.
I'll admit, communication could be better. We do our best. Mary is amazing at updating our website. If you submit your email, there are emails that go out with the agendas, with the minutes, with any applicable documentation. We do try to send mailers out. That is unfortunately very expensive. But we do try to do that. There is also social media. I'm always easy to reach via email, text message, social media as well. But I'm obviously open to any ideas anyone has. If there is a crowdsourcing, if there are listservs that you're interested in, please tell us. We want people to be at the meetings. We want people to feel heard. So we have those avenues, and I'm open to feedback if anyone has any ideas.
Robert.
So as far as how does the community know? That's a good question. Many times I don't know. And that's part of what spurred me to run. And that's why that is one of my big campaigns. The community needs to know what's going on, and it needs to be easily disseminated among the community. It can't be well, we've got it here tucked away in the closet. You need to have the key, know where the key is at first before you can unlock the door to get to the information. So that needs to go away. There needs to be readjustment of budgeting instead of for skate parks. Let's get some in for something that is useful for all of the residents, and that's to put an application out there that can be done real time by the town clerk, and the information could be out. It's a one-stop shop for everybody.
Jude.
Yeah, so to reiterate, everyone in town can sign up for an email, and if you sign up for an email, you will get regular notices from the town as to all of our board meetings and any other notices we send out. We also post before every meeting all of our agendas and all the documents that will be discussed at those meetings. We also have Zoom, so anyone who wants to attend but doesn't want to attend in person can attend via Zoom meetings. And we encourage everybody to do that. We also send updates through the ECC newsletter. We send out regular updates as to what's going on. And almost nothing we deal with isn't dealt with over a long period of time. So for example, the FEMA law we had been talking about for over 3 years before it was passed. So if you're paying attention, you would know that.
The next question, which you will answer first, Jude. How do you plan to enhance opportunities for youth in the community?
Yeah, so we actually sat with a number of and asked for their feedback about what they wanted. And they came and did work on the skate park, which had some issues and we didn't handle too well. We're rethinking that. We also have had Cornell come and put together a plan for what a town park could look like, so that we can go out and look for funding for a town park over by the highway department. And as part of that, we have taken into account what the kids have listed in their request.
Rosie,
I think we should get kids involved in what's going on outside, put their phone away, make them go out and get in the creeks, go down here, check out what the beavers are doing, how come that's doing that. Go meet the farmers up the road and see what it is that they find as problems in that. This is a rural farm community. These kids sit here on their phones like this and they're not getting out there and learning stuff that they could be learning. Take them along with you if you're going to have a logger come to your place and look at your trees. Why is this tree this one being cut and that one's not? That kind of thing where people get involved with the kids. Take them with you, bring them with you, teach them. They need to know how things happen around here. That's how I feel that the youth in this in Enfield area could benefit from the people of this board.
Cassandra.
And again, this is an issue that's really near and dear to my heart. On the Sustainability Committee, I've helped organize the last 3 Deck the Halls events with our toy swap between children as well. Through the rec partnership for the last 4 years, I've represented Enfield, reviewing budget and ensuring that access and affordability is available to our children. Ensuring communication with our youth is obviously the most important. Supporting these programs, even with our own families within the Enfield Community Center. I've personally helped support our 2 little free libraries, promoting literacy in Enfield. We secured a grant from the Indigenous Peoples Little Free Library Grant, which paid for the Little Free Library across at the bus stop, which I keep stocked every other week. We also have improved park options. We did get a grant through Cornell to draw blueprints for possible future parks. Sustainability events. I would like to actually go with some gardening programs for next year, local partnership and partnering with 4-H as well.
So involving the youth is important to me. I raised 4 children. They've done well. Very involved in the Ithaca school system. She was a principal at Henry St. John, which was a multicultural school. I learned that everybody deserves respect and every child deserves an opportunity. This is something that I would like to take on, and without knowing where the town has gone to speak to the kids to see what they want, I can't speak on that, how we could enhance it, but I would like to find out. And I would like to go to the schools. I would like to, if we don't implement it now, the Big Brother, Big Sister program we used to have. That's something I think that would help the children learn and be able to look up to somebody that's already living that part of the life.
The next question you will answer first, Robert. How will you ensure that discussions at meetings are cooperative and not confrontational?
Lead by example. I've had to deal with many corporate board meetings, many irate directors of different departments. I have been in combat and had to deal with a lot of uncomfortable situations. The last thing you want to do is to lose your composure. And I bring that to the board if I'm elected. and I demand respect after I give respect. And that's how it should be. Everybody should be able to talk with a calm demeanor and not feel so upset that they elevate to screaming or personal attacks or name calling. You lost discussion when it gets to that point. There's no ammunition. It's skidded off in the weeds. It's unproductive.
Jude,
Well, I agree with Robert. I mean, I think it's very important that we have calm, deliberative discussions and people do not raise their voices to anyone within them. And I think I bring that to the board and have for a long time. In fact, when, as I said in my opening comments, when I first joined the board, things were quite divisive. And we even had to bring in an outside party to do a report to try and get the board back to treating each other civilly. And I was involved in that as I had just joined the board. So I was part of that process to try and bring civility back to the board. And I think I've been an agent for that.
Rosie,
I think that you earned the respect that you give. I also have seen this board turn into a vicious, hateful thing toward people, one person especially. I got to admit that Jude actually stopped it, but nobody else did. And that is just not right. You treat people kindly. You don't sit there and scream at them. And you all or figure out what it is, how you go about it a different way. But you have to be able.
Yeah, respect is obviously the most important thing. And we are talking about things, very important, passionate topics that can get the better of people occasionally, but it is important to keep a level head, to communicate, to try to not come into the meeting with an antagonistic perspective from the gate, to be able to hear those opinions openly. I heard a statistic recently that between parties, ironically, we agree on 80% of the issues, and it's the 20% that tend to tear people apart. And I think we really need to focus on that 80% and what we can do together and try to keep calm heads through it all.
the next question you will answer first, Cassandra. And it's, what are your plans for Enfield regarding enhancing sustainability? Oh. And also, how have you been involved in sustainability in the past? And I rephrase the question to include those people who are not currently on. So Cassandra, you start.
So for the last 4 years, I've been the chair of the Sustainability Committee. My role is to spearhead and promote reduction, recycling, and environmental awareness. During that time, I have organized 2 trash talks, organizing multiple municipalities coming together to discuss repair cafes, tool libraries, clothing swaps. It actually led to extending our composting program locally. We are also opening to new recycling options, including paint and tires. We organized the Deck the Halls event. I designed the flyers, organized the toy swap, helped secure over $1.2 million in grants, $50,000 in funding for our solar, $2,000 for the Indigenous Peoples Grant, and other grants to upgrade our town hall, highway department, and courthouse, making us a registered climate smart community, and that was paid for by the NYSEG grant. No taxpayer dollars were involved. I did discuss already the Little Free Libraries and partnering with Pollinator Pathways, Project GNB, and organizing our town and cemetery cleanups, among many other things.
Robert.
Sustainability. Well, I think the first thing is to explore what the options are And when there's a grant, determine how much of the grant has to be met by the town and what that does to the tax increase. Nothing is $15 gonna take 25 years to return what was expended by the town residents, even though the grant was there. Getting a grant is good, but it's not good if it's costing the town residents more than it's enhancing their life. So that has to be explored first before I can answer in depth.
When everybody's answered the question.
Yeah,
Jude.
so, I was involved in the, Water Protection, Committee. They passed our water protection law. And that was done to protect the aquifer of the town. Solar arrays, as Cassandra mentioned, we also put in heat pumps. We worked to get grants for heat pumps. And the salt pump running into the local aquifer as well. All of that was paid for in grants or with ARPA funds, with the exception of the salt barn, where we did have to put up funds. Going forward, we'll continue to look for climate smart community funding for clean energy. And those are projects where we're not putting up money. Also looking at a ordinance to protect road damage.
Rosie.
Well, being new to this, I don't have anything that I've done for sustainability here in this community, but I'm a pretty active person. I know a lot of people and I can get some people to move things around. But what we need to do is find out, what would the residents like to see? These guys have got we did this for that, and we did this for that, and they have their little special interests. And they're never asking the people in Enfield if they're interested in this type of thing. Do you really want this? Do you want to spend the money that you're from your taxes? Is it the way it's being used? Do you like the way that it's being used? And this is something that you want to see. I get it for some things that people want to do, and that's great. If the town people want to do it, then we should look into it. But it shouldn't just be a decision that's made because it's something that the board likes, and that's it.
Sorry, yes, you have a 30-second rebuttal.
I'm a little bit confused because for the grants, the reason we do this and the reason we put in the literal hours of work that it takes is that so the town does not have to pay for these things. We get these grants to the NYSERDA grant, the solar panels, that's paid for itself. We have not been paying utilities at the highway department because of this. So we are in fact saving you money. So this isn't something we're doing to push forward our resume to make ourselves feel better. This is not a rich town. We do not have a lot of money in the budget. And so for a lot of these things to keep the town going, we need help. And that's what we get from grants.
Robert.
This is my point of lack of transparency. I didn't know this. I can't find it on the town website. So if that's the case, what the standard says, great. But that level of transparency, communication, so we know what's going on.
Rosie, you will be answering this question first. It's a slightly confusing question. It's talking about the town board streaming its meetings, allowing virtual attendees. Meetings. And if so, under what circumstances, if any, should town board members participate virtually?
I believe that the Zoom was a good thing when they had COVID and people didn't want to come in and be in a room that's like this. That's done. That's over with. That Zoom thing is nothing but a big porno bomb over there every time. And according to the New York State law, you should be present at these meetings and not being zoomed in. If it's not a personal choice for you to do that, you should be present at the meeting, physically present. So that's what's in the New York State law, and that's what I believe. They should get rid of the Zoom. It's causing problems with everybody and it shouldn't be there.
Cassandra?
For Zoom, I agree, for board members that, unless there's extreme circumstances, in 4 years, I believe I've missed 4 meetings. One because I have COVID, 2 because of a sick daughter, 1 because my husband was in surgery. I think accessibility is a big problem, and as several people have brought up, that communicating to the town and getting the word out there is difficult enough, that I feel that getting rid of Zoom entirely might make that worse. But I agree, attendance is important, and part of the way we communicate. I would like a better way for that to work out.
Robert?
So regarding Zoom, that's archaic. And it's, if you do risk assessment on type of software, as we hear now, it's easily compromised. There are other applications, Microsoft Teams, which imply and follow the HIPAA rules. If there was any application at the town meetings. There are other ways that you can do risk assessment and use a different software application that does allow the community to stay informed by checking in. As far as attending, there's a lot.
Jude?
So I believe that the Zoom meetings are actually very helpful. I mean, we do have to address the Zoom bombing, and I've actually been talking with my son about that and how we could address it as a software engineer. But we found that we get a lot better attendance with Zoom. Without Zoom, nobody came to the board meetings. And I think Zoom allows people to listen in while they're taking care of their kids or getting dinner ready and stay connected. And I think Zoom is an important tool for us.
The timing here, these are, for rebuttals, 30 seconds. Sorry.
So I did a little research as to the Zooming in that. Jude has spent January, February, March of 22, 23, January of 24 in California, Zooming into the meetings here. That is not fair to the people in Enfield. They do not like it. They don't want it. And I don't think that they should be.
Have you all answered the question? Yes, and you have a rebuttal?
I do. It is true that I go to California in the winter for health reasons, for my husband's health reasons, but I continue to be actively involved in the board. I attend all the meetings. I'm working directly with the board outside of meetings, and I am fully participating in town governance while I'm out of town.
So these 2 next questions about things that took place in the past, and so it's difficult to present them to all candidates, but I'd like your comments on it anyway. Why did Enfield need a new flood insurance protection plan? Do you all agree with the actions that the board took? And this starts with you, Jude.
Yeah, so actually, over the last 3 years, the board has been dealing with the issue of National Flood Insurance Program because FEMA, the federal government, came in and for the first time mapped flood plains in Enfield. As a result, we were now required under New York state law to look at putting in a national flood insurance program. So we got a minute out
Yeah.
there.
So I'm sorry, Connie's having problems with her phone.
Okay. In any event, the National Flood Insurance Program is important because it protects the people who live in the flood insurance. It protects their mortgages. If they don't have flood insurance and they have a federally backed mortgage, they will lose their mortgage or they will not be able to get a mortgage. Also, the town could lose, the town and its residents could lose federal disaster money in the event of a FEMA event, and that includes not just flooding. It also would prevent the town from getting certain federal and state grants. It makes it affordable for everybody, and everyone in the town is eligible to buy flood insurance.
Rosie,
I'm hoping that FEMA gets dismantled. What they did to the people in North Carolina, it's the same damn thing they're gonna do to us here in Enfield if there's ever a flood that takes things out. And I'm totally against that. You don't need to have FEMA as the one thing that holds up your mortgages or holds up this. There's other mortgage companies in that. It does affect federal grants and stuff like that in some ways, but it's not the thing that you have to have in order for you to have a mortgage in this town.
Cassandra.
Enfield was actually the last town in Tompkins to not be on this map. It does protect the homeowners. I think it's really important to preface that this came from the federal and state government. Enfield's hands were literally tied with this. We had no recourse. We had to go, this is a state law. If we did not go through with it, there would be many people that would lose their mortgages, not be able to sell their homes. The average cost, one resident report is about $400 a year, which I understand is still a lot for some people. For the sake of your home, it's worth considering, especially now that it's available to everyone, not just in the floodplain. Judas WKIP grant and others require it as part of the town to keep the process going. And FEMA mapped Enfield for the first time this year. So this is new to all of us. But again, one board member advocated to push for harsher restrictions at this table. And actually it was the board that convinced them to calm it down a little bit.
Okay, so what I know about the flood insurance thing is based on the meeting I went to when it was voted on. There was contradiction in the statement by the board as to what would happen. Insured mortgage. As a veteran who uses his VA certificate, I know that it's only in flood zone, designated flood zone, not all that of the community outside of the zone. So, it was confusing at best. And one meeting, I only knew of the discussion, and that's when it was voted on. Again, communication. And I think that I'm not against flood insurance, but it's dictated if it's been flooded in that area in the last 70 years. So a lot of things were unclear. And it was just misleading.
Thank you. Now, this is the last question we have, unless there are any more questions coming from the audience. And then following this question, we will go to closing statements. So, Robert, you're answering the question first. This concerns why was the dog law amended, did the town need an updated law and why? And do you support this law or not?
Well, I guess I'm the ignorant one on the panel here, because I didn't know it was amended. And, I'd have to look at it, see why it was amended, what the amendment entails. I have a dog.
Laws up to date, clarifying definitions and making sure standards are clear, fair, and enforceable. All waste must be cleaned daily for more than 5 dogs. There are approximately 3 households affected by this. The other new change was that food containers must be covered. And this is honestly for sanitation reasons, to avoid spreading disease, rats, vermin. We did have a town situation where there were 12 to 13 dogs involved, and we wanted to add provisions to keep that situation from happening again. It's not micromanaging. It's about keeping our town clean and protecting our residents and their property from pests and illness.
Oh, Rosie, sorry.
If this town board is so concerned about pests and illness and that, then why is the food pantry allowed to set their rotten fruit outside on pallets for up to 3-4 days? At one point, it was at a week. Why is that not, that's not watching out for that. There's every kind of raccoon or whatever you want can come in there and cause just as as
Going to ask because it really only concerns current board members. And this, Cassandra, you will be answering first. How will you work to reduce taxes? Which line items in the budget would you reduce?
That's been very that. And the question comes down to, again, nobody, it's been a hot topic, but the grants have been saving us quite a bit of money. The cemetery committee, the sustainability committee has been saving the residents money. As to what to cut, bare bones, I would have to think about it. The highway department is tough. They need new equipment. They have equipment needs repaired.
Looking by line item, it's going to be a little difficult for me to be more specific than somebody who's currently on the board. So I would say we could start with those who serve, have a, first service mentality. I'd be willing to forfeit, as Jude does, the pay that I would receive if I were elected. That would be a start. Good faith by the board and the supervisor. Let's get back to the way it was, where the ones who represented worked for free. That'd be a good way to start cutting the budget right off the top. And then also scrutinize, what do we do for play items as opposed to what are necessary? Keep the roads, up to date, current, so it's safe. I'm all for it. Bridges, all for it. Anything that has with safety, I'm all for.
Jude.
So we did go through line by line and looked at what we could cut, and we worked hard to try and cut the budget this year. 80% of our budget is the highway department. And if you look at costs, I mean, the costs have just gone exponentially high. So health insurance went up 18% this year. And just looking at the equipment that Buddy and his team have to buy, the cost of the equipment has gone up exponentially every year. So we are doing our level best. And if you look at our budget, we are providing basic services to the town. There really isn't any fluff in that budget. We're doing the minimum that we need to do as a town for the town's safety.
Rosie.
Again, I'd go back to the residents and I'd ask them, what do you think we can do here to get the taxes down in this town? We don't need a dog park. We don't need a park down here that people can walk around. We've got a beautiful state park a mile down the road. There's also the farmers that are around here. Let's give them incentive to use some of their property for the things that like the pollinator gardens, so they don't mow one field, one part of it or something like that. Let's give them some incentive, and give them a little money back for their stuff that they do. There's lots of different ways to look at, it's not always you have to stay inside the box. You have to look outside the box to see where you can make your cuts, and you have to keep the people in the town involved in it.
Thank you. The next question, you will answer first, Rosie. Communication with residents is not all about using social media. And I take it that means email. As simple as more signs on Main Road, Route 79 and more places. Not everyone knows how to Zoom or use social media. What other ways do you suggest for the older folks in the community, less capable with technology, to get information from the board?
Identify them and go see them. That is the best way that you're going to get your information out for some of these people. Some of them can't even, they have a difficult time even walking. And then there's a lot of people that work on computers all day long and they don't want to come home and look at an email after they've been doing this all day. They don't want to come home and keep doing this. So I think that you have to find some other ways, which could be community events. You make it an event where, you can come. Today, we're going to talk about this. Please bring your ideas. And if the older folks in town need to get their ideas in here, then go out and get the ideas and bring them back in so that when they get brought around to people, then they get their voice heard also.
Cassandra.
I think we do that a lot. We do a lot of outreach. We send mailers when we can. If residents are happier sending a stamped letter to the board or to individual board members, I'm absolutely open to that. I haven't received any, but I'd be happy to read them. And if there's other ways that we could be reaching out, if there are particular venues or apps or any form, I'm willing to listen.
Robert.
So I think, as I said in my opening statement, I think that we could get the communication out there better. One thing would be have it a well-known thing on the sign that we hold a community forum once a month. Let people come in and also survey those who come in and say, do you know somebody who is incapable of coming here every month? Identify those people where it is legally appropriate and go see them. Get out and meet people. You gotta understand who the people in your community are, what their needs are. Go see them, talk to them, make them feel important, make them feel real, like they really matter. Don't make them be the horse that's looking for the water in the well and they've got to go over sand dune after sand dune and still can't find the well, but it's their responsibility. It's their onus to go find this water. Go out to them. I'm tired of the excuse. Go out to them.
Jude.
So, we're a small community. We have a very small budget, $2 million. Every time we send a mailing, it will cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,000. So we don't have $2,000 to send mailings out all the time about issues that occur. The way that we try and address that is through the emails, through the agendas, it's the minutes on the website, etc. And I will say, it is your responsibility as a citizen to pay attention to what your town's doing and to come to the board meetings. We beg people to come to the board meetings. We have set up forums and informational things. We send out surveys. We don't get great responses. It's your responsibility to help us to help you.
Robert.
I've not received one survey and I've been living here for many years. I've not, I've seen an occasional newsletter from the Senate. And I find it hard pill to swallow to put the onus on the resident. It's unacceptable because again, I don't care how small we are. The residents are the people that make the town. Don't make them the inconvenience. Oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. Find a way. Again, I go back to the skate park. Mix that kind of nonsense. Get the people in the community involved. Find a way. 2025, soon be 2026. There is no excuse to exclude citizens from important information.
Thank you. And now we're going to go to closing statements, which are 2 minutes, Connie. And we will go back to the same order that we've had the opening statement. So that is starting with you, Rob.
So I'll just reiterate what I said in my opening statement at the end. If elected, my priorities are clear. First, to improve communication, as you know, that's a big topic with me. Transparency, making it easy for everyone to see how and why decisions are made. And third, to reconnect government with the community, ensuring that every policy reflects what Enfield residents actually need, not outside influences or political maneuvering. At the end of the day, this campaign isn't about politics. It's about people. It's about restoring trust and rebuilding a government that works for everyone. I'm committed to being approachable, accountable, and transparent because Enfield deserves leadership that listens and acts with integrity.
Jude.
Good evening. Thank you again. Over the past several years, our board has made some real progress working together to strengthen the infrastructure, to support our residents, and to plan responsibly for the future. We've secured over $1.2 million in grants, which means that town taxes are not paid for these projects, where we funded major community improvements, including construction of the salt barn, where we did have to put some funds up, but a small, very small amount compared to the cost. Repairs to the Bostwick Culvert, installation of solar arrays, recreational upgrades and beautification projects. We also used our federal ARPA funds carefully and responsibly. We upgraded town buildings. We secured a backup generator for the highway department, and we provided financial support to the Enfield Community Council, the Enfield Food Pantry, and the Enfield Fire District. And we've made very meaningful steps toward protecting the water resources for the future. Looking ahead, our goals are ambitious, but within reach. We are pursuing grant funding for the Rumsey Hill Bridge and for other additional culvert repairs, which are major expenses for the town. We're seeking funds for an equipment storage unit and that involves more funding for clean energy projects, adopting a road use ordinance, and exploring the community development block grant program to help renovate and improve aging housing and housing stock. Together, we've shown that when the board works collaboratively, we can achieve great things for the town. I'd be honored to continue that work. Let's keep that progress going and vote for experienced leadership. Thank you.
Rosie.
As I said earlier, I'm not very experienced at this, but I am a quick study. And I believe that the people in this town need to have a voice, and they don't have it right now. And I don't foresee it happening if we stay with the same old, same old. So I'm hoping that when you go to the polls on November 4th, that you remember what it is that you want out of your town board and you vote accordingly.
Cassandra.
I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Being here proves that you do care about this town and are invested. My name is Cassandra Hinkle, and for the past 4 years, I've been proud to serve on this board. Like many of you, I struggle a full-time job, family life, and community service because I truly believe in this town and the people who make it. What matters most to me is being accessible and down to earth, whether it's talking to parents on the playground, helping a neighbor with recycling questions, or listening to residents at board meetings. I believe the government works best when people feel heard and respected. Looking ahead, I want to continue building Enfield that supports working families, invests in our youth, and protects our natural resources and honors our sense of community. I've proven I can get things done, but I've also proven I care deeply about how things get done through teamwork, transparency, and compassion. So tonight, I'm asking for your vote, not just to continue the work we've started, but to keep Enfield moving forward. Thank you.
Thank all of you very much for being here tonight and sharing your opinions with us all. We are now going to ask you to leave your nice position and for the other candidates who are running in for election to come up and take your places. So that's Stephanie Redmond, who's running for town supervisor. Mary Cornell running for town clerk. Barry Rollins running for highway superintendent. And then Randy Brown running for county legislator, District 15. Rachel Osland, running for County Legislator District 16. You can give us. You can give them 3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's 3 minutes and then 1 minute, 3 minutes all together, then 1:30, 10. Okay, yeah. All, once, yeah. Everybody is here now. Can we have quiet, please? Can we have quiet, please? Later on in the evening, there's going to be a time to meet and greet all the candidates. So please, Cassandra, can you stop talking in the back there? Thank you. We're now going to give the other candidates the opportunity to tell you what they're proposing, their candidate statements, although they are not contested in the roles they are running for. I asked them originally to get to speak for 2 minutes. They can have up to 3 minutes if they need it, but the more concise you are, the quicker we can get down to refreshments and then meeting you personally.
I'll make it quick.
So we'll start with Stephanie Redmond, who's running for town supervisor.
I'm Stephanie Redmond. I sat in front of you about 5 years ago for this very same thing. I have to say, I had no idea what I was getting into when I started on the board. It's been quite a ride. It hasn't always been pleasant. In fact, it's been very difficult when we first started out. We had COVID we were dealing with, along with the numerous other issues that we had to deal with, funding, etc. And we really struggled to get through those. I'm glad that we went through that. I'm glad we had those really hard times, because it makes me really appreciate what we have now in our town. And what I'm seeing with our elected representatives, with our staff, with our nonprofits and other organizations that we're working with, is that we're working really well together, finally. We are working well together as a town. I definitely feel like there's a feeling of teamwork across the board. I feel like there's definitely a feeling of understanding between our different departments and our different department heads. And I appreciate everybody in their various positions. I especially appreciate my 2 board members that were here tonight. I hope our town realizes how much money they save us, whether it's the grants that are offsetting with the solar and the other renewable energies. Those are completely 100% paid for by the grants that they were able to obtain, and they offset our skyrocketing utilities. Our utilities have been increasing just like yours have. The town has been facing the same inflation that you have been facing as residents. And if we did not have these offsets of renewable energies, we would be feeling those costs even more. Our taxpayers would be saddled with that burden. Jude, I hope you realize it saves you tens of thousands of dollars. Whenever I have a contract, when I have new legislation, I always have her look through it first, so that when I give it to our attorney, who charges us $300 an hour, it's ready. He can give his simple review and pass it on. It costs us so much less. So I really appreciate that we have these very well-informed members on our board that take the time to understand things. There's no misinformation. There's no lack of information. They really take the time to understand the issues. And I hope our community appreciates that they are coming informed to our board every time to make these decisions. And we deliberate things for months, if not years, before we have them. always come and join us. We have committees, we have newsletters that we put out. Always check our website. We have things through there. If you have questions, if you want to sit down and go through the budget line by line with me, I will do that with you. Call me, text me, email me, anything you want. I will sit down. If you have a question about our legislation, ask me. I'm absolutely happy to sit with you and walk through it line by line. Thank you.
Now, Mary Cornell, who's running for town clerk.
I am Mary Cornell. I'm a lifelong resident of Enfield. I've been your town clerk since 2021. I really enjoyed serving our community, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so. Really, I'm short.
Barry Rollins, running for highway superintendent.
Barry Rollins, I'm going by Buddy most of the time, or all the time, hopefully. I've been your highway superintendent. This is my 17th year. I lucked out, got a whole new crew when I started, and I got a real good crew that we all work together. And I think we've been doing a lot of good improvements with the roads and stuff. When I first started, we had 17 miles of dirt roads. We have 7 miles of dirt roads now. That's been oil and stone or paved. And plus upkeep in the paved roads that we've already had. We have 86.2 miles of lane roads, and that includes the ditches and that go and shoulders that go along with that. I have a board in the back, the guys and all the stuff that we do and the responsibility in all our roads that are marked out. I enjoy the job. I've been doing this for about 40 years, road work and stuff. I worked 8 years at the county, and I was self-employed doing construction work before that. That's all.
And now, Randy Brown, who's running for county legislature, District 15.
It's me.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm serving my 4th year now in the county legislature. I grew up in Trumbull's Corners and rode my bike all through here when I was young, back in the 60s. My family is 6th generation from Enfield, Newfield, the Rumsey family, Tabor family, McGuire Gardens. Everybody knows them as the grandparents. They lived off the grid at Connecticut Hill in the 60s, the first windmill in the county. I'm serving on more committees than any other legislature. I have not missed one legislature meeting. I've not missed one committee meeting in 4 years. I'm really focused on health and human services, where TSS, sustainable health, and office of aging, and all those service providers report to that committee. So I understand all those budgets and their functions. We have a great office for the aging, by the way, great health department. A lot of great people work for the county. I've been very impressed with all the departments and the leaders that have been very committed, so that I was not sure what to think when I first got into the legislature. I didn't know what was happening, what they were doing, but I've been quite impressed. But I am concerned about the finances of the county. I'm very focused on them, more so than any other legislature. I review our audits carefully and go through every page, and I find errors, frankly, that are miscalculations of where they move from. The county's finance systems are archaic. They're 20, 30 years old, and we need to upgrade them, and we are. So I'm really focused on the finances. We kept taxes down over the last 3 cycles. We're at 4.5% increase in the levy. This year, not so much. It would be someplace around 4%. The costs are going higher and higher. Health care, as somebody else mentioned, 18%. And a lot of costs are going up. But I think that really what the county needs to do is they need to be much more efficient, and they need to really rely much more on technology, because we're hiring more and more people to provide those services. And when you do that, this increases the cost. I mean, you figure an employee someplace around $90,000 and up. You add benefits and all those things. And we continue to add employees. One thing that's come up is assessments. People hear about those things an awful lot. There's a freeze on those for many reasons, because our software for that is 30 years old in the state.
We're upgrading that now, so they're cleaning all those files. And one of the things they're looking at is how can they reduce their staff once they get those organizations done. I think those types of things need to happen. I'll push for that. I'm really focused on our budgets and the finances and everybody's revenue. So that's my number one focus. I also am a driver on youth programming. I'm very focused on youth, and our county needs to step up and fund more of that, especially here in Enfield.
And now last, Rachel Osland, who's running for County Legislative District 16.
Yes. Hello, my name is Rachel Awesome, and I'm running for 16, which is currently called District 5. It covers about half of the town of Enfield, so it would be shared with Randy, and then all the town of Ulysses, the village of Trumansburg. I live just a few miles down the road in Jacksonville with my husband and our 2 kids, and I also grew up in this area. So my interest in this position really comes from a belief in what's possible at the level of county government. I think that this level of government at its best, it provides residents with direct access to representatives and to departments that provide services, but also has a broad enough reach and a large enough budget to really determine the quality of life for residents throughout the county. And that's because the county services touch every part of daily life. So including, and Randy mentioned some of these, but the health department, roads, 911 dispatch, the sheriff's office, public transportation, assessment and taxation, libraries, social services, and so much more. And so many of the services provided by the county are geared at making sure that people have their basic needs met, and that our infrastructure and county systems are working efficiently and smoothly. And relatedly, so we all deserve to have our basic needs met in a consistent and dignified way, and we should be able to afford to stay in our homes and have jobs that allow us to support ourselves and our families. We need a vibrant and generative local economy, a thriving regional food system, access to open space and natural areas, clean air and clean water, and we need well-maintained infrastructure and equitable emergency services. And I think we also need to make sure that no one falls through the cracks, whether it's making sure kids and teens have safe and nurturing places to go after school, or that older adults receive support to stay in their homes, or ensuring that the most vulnerable residents of the county are held and supported. And when we can acknowledge that interdependence, and when we recognize that every single person is worthy of care, then we'll be on our way to building a resilient community where we're all cared for and we are all active participants in keeping each other safe and whole. And so some of this is our responsibility to each other, but it's our county government's role to ensure that the policy decisions and the budget reflect the values and priorities of residents, and that county services are being used to support the development of the community that we all want and deserve. So, thank you for being here tonight, and it would be a privilege to be your representative in the legislature.
Thank you all, and thank everybody for coming. And now a big thank you to Enfield Grange, who are going to provide us with refreshments. And then we can all get out and have a meet and greet and actually talk individually to the candidates who are here. And so thank you all. And thank you in particular to Ted Crane, who makes recording these events possible, so that you can, if you miss part of the early part of the evening, or if somebody went home and didn't hear everything, this a recording of this event will be on the League of Women Voters website, and there will be a link to the YouTube recording that will go up tomorrow or the next day. So thank you all very much.
We have a round of applause for the lady, or the women, League of Women Voters, Ted Crane, and of course the Grange.
If you want to run home.